combat veteran in 3 wars. 71 years ago this week, you were probably in a place not quite as nice as this. We still celebrate the history of Iwo Jima, that iconic battle. And General Snowden was part of making that history and handing down a legacy that we're all proud to continue today, and we're here to recognize his service for that, but more importantly for what he did after he took off the uniform. Because after he retired in 1979, he dedicated his life to healing and building a relationship we enjoy with the nation of Japan. And you hear shortly in the award citations, General Snowden continued leading from the front in this relationship. Just last week, there were Japanese ground self-defense force soldiers at Camp Pendleton training with Marines on Navy ships. I'm not sure that that would have been considered possible 71 years ago. But General Snowden was a driving force in establishing a reunion of honor to commemorate the Battle of Iwo Jima for both Japanese and U.S. veterans, a reunion that has continued for over 20 years. And I had the honor recently of speaking at the Iwo Jima Association of America banquet in Washington. We had hoped to recognize General Snowden there with some of his fellow veterans. It was a great honor to meet them. I'm glad the Shore Patrol wasn't present. Once a Marine, always a Marine, what can I say? But we had a change of plans, and it's fitting that we come down here today and visit with you here and recognize you in front of your friends and fellow citizens. Sir, a few years ago, you spoke at a Memorial Day event here in Tallahassee, and as you've often done, you paid tribute to the men that you led, to those who made the ultimate sacrifice. You talked about celebrating the lives they lived and also about the sadness of the human potential that was lost when we lost those young men. And today we continue to acknowledge all those we have lost in battlefields far away. And we will never forget them. But General, we're here to acknowledge you in your life of service, your service to your fellow citizens, service to those you once called enemies on a small Pacific island, service to the country that you love, and service to our Corps. So while we may have lost those that we wish we hadn't, we can be thankful that the human potential was allowed to thrive in those like you who came home and continued to serve. And I can say with every confidence that the Marines under your command 71 years ago are proud of their captain. And I'm sure they look down on you and are not surprised at all that you're receiving these awards today. So it's my honor and privilege to be here to represent not just the 184,000 Marines on active duty today, but all those that have served our Corps and all veterans who have served our nation. So we're happy that we're here today. We're honored and privileged to be here with you, and we're proud of what you've done. And you, as you have remained, not just always a Marine, but always Semper Fidelis. So General, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to present awards from the Secretary of Defense and the Secretary of the Navy, as well as recognition by the 114th Congress. I would ask Lieutenant Colonel Poland to come out and read the awards and the citations. I would ask only for those in uniform, unless you choose to do so, when we read the citations, to please stand. Everyone else, please, I request you remain seated. Thank you.
Attention to orders. United States of America, the Congressional Record. Proceedings of the second session of the 114th Congress, recognizing Lieutenant General Lawrence F. Snowden, United States Marine Corps, retired, as entered by the Honorable John Klein of Minnesota in the House of Representatives on 2 February 2016. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to recognize a great American, a great Marine, and a champion of lasting friendship between the people of the United States and Japan. As our nation prepares to recognize the 71st anniversary of the Battle of Iwo Jima, it is timely to recognize a veteran of that iconic struggle in the Second World War. Lieutenant General Lawrence F. Snowden was born April 14, 1921 in Charlottesville, Virginia, and graduated from the University of Virginia in 1942. Prior to graduating, General Snowden enlisted in the Marine Corps Reserve in February 1942 and was called to active duty in May of 1942. He was commissioned to second lieutenant on July 18, 1942. assigned to Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, he served initially with the 23rd Marine Regiment, assigned to the 3rd and the 4th Marine Divisions. From February 1944 until March 1945, he saw combat as a company commander with the 23rd Marines in the capture of Roy Namur in the Marshall Islands, and the capture of Saipan and Tinian, and the legendary assault on Iwo Jima, which commenced on 19 February 1945. It was Fleet Admiral Chester Nimitz who, when speaking of the Battle of Iwo Jima, stated that uncommon valor is a common virtue. General Snowden is the senior surviving American veteran of that battle, in which he was wounded twice. General Snowden retired from the Marine Corps after more than 37 years of active service in 1979, serving his last years as Chief of Staff, Headquarters, U.S. Marine Corps. His commitment to our nation and healing the wounds of war did not end at his retirement. General Snowden became a regular traveler to Japan and to Iwo Jima, leading a reunion of honor with his fellow veterans of the battle from both the United States and Japan. His mission is a solemn one of reconciliation. As the widow of the Japanese commanding general said to him, "Once enemies, now friends." General Snowden himself has stated, "Those men didn't want to be there any more than we did. They were doing their duty. You don't hate anyone for that." As a further sign of his commitment to goodwill, General Snowden was here in this chamber in the House of Representatives in April 2015 as a guest of the Prime Minister of Japan, Shinzo Abe, when he addressed the Congress. At his side was the grandson of the commander of the Japanese garrison on Iwo Jima, while General Snowden's efforts were recognized by the Prime Minister. As a 25-year veteran of the Marine Corps, I am honored to recognize the historic Battle of Iwo Jima, and I am pleased to call attention to this great American, Lieutenant General Lawrence F. Snowden. I applaud his contribution to the past, present, and future of our great nation as a Marine and a statesman.
Can you look right here? 1, 2, 3.
Everybody knows what Steph Sorter is.